Dobrý den, vítejte u dalšího videa. Today we are going to talk about how to express measure. You know, like in English when you want to say the more something, then the more something else happened. Like the more he talked, the more I liked him. Or the more he talked, the less I liked him. This topic was suggested by my student Brian and I am going to tell you how to express sentences like this. Jdeme na to. Ahoj, vítejte na mém kanále Czech by Zuzka, kde vám pomocí angličtiny vysvětluju českou gramatiku. Expressing this type of measure in Czech, it's not too different from English. If you want to say, the more he talked, the more I liked him, you would also use the word more, čím víc, tím víc. These are our keywords. Actually, these are our keywords because víc doesn't have to be there. It depends what else we want to say in the sentence. You have to have these two words, čím and tím. Let's look at an example from a Czech movie. It's a Czech fairy tale, one of my favorites when I was a kid. It's called Lotrando a Zubejda. And in this scene you will see bandits, these robbers who operate in the forest and rob passers-by, are having a feast after one of their successful robberies. So listen very carefully what this chief bandit has to say.
A taky je zajímavý, že čím víc máme, tím víc. Čím víc máme, tím víc krademe, ty střevo.
So the bandit, loupežník in Czech, said, a taky je zajímavý, že čím víc máme, tím víc krademe. Čím víc máme, tím víc krademe. The more we have, the more we steal. When we look at the construct and want to translate it literally, of course it doesn't make sense. But I know that some of you want to understand exactly how this is made, so I'll try. Čím víc, čím is instrumental case for the pronoun co. So actually you're saying something like, with what more we have. With what more we have. Something like that. And then the tím is also instrumental case for the pronoun to. With that more we steal. That would be the literal translation. And in English, this is the more we have, the more we steal. In Czech, we have to use different words. Here is čím, and then in the second part is tím. So those, as I said, are the key words, čím and tím. What comes after can vary. Most common is víc, which means more, and as well as here. Then you can have a verb, or you can even add čím víc peněz máme, the more money we have. Čím víc peněz máme, tím víc, you could say, tím víc věcí krademe. You could add that. And also you might know that víc is not the only option to express the word more. In fact, this one is informal. The neutral or more formal word is více. So we have více, more, which is formal, and we can shorten it and use víc, which is informal and used much more when we speak. And then on the contrary, when you want to say less, you would use méně. This longer one is more formal, and we can shorten it to míň, which is informal. Více or víc, méně or míň. So you could also say čím míň máme, the less we have, the less we steal, for example. Čím míň máme, tím míň krademe, for instance. Let's say the more money the robbers or the bandits have, the greedier they become. You would say čím víc peněz mají, and then we would say tím jsou, and you would use this adjective in a comparative form. Greedy can be expressed as nenasytný, insatiable, nenasytný, and then you use the second degree, the comparative, nenasytnější. Tím jsou nenasytnější. Čím víc peněz mají, tím jsou nenasytnější. Like I said, víc doesn't have to be there. We actually have a comparative adjective here. So the structure is usually like this. Čím is followed by a comparative, and that can be either an adjective or an adverb. In this case is an adverb. And if we don't have this, we can also have an adjective, like here. Tím jsou nenasytnější. This is an adjective, greedier. So let's see more examples. As for me, I really like plants. So I could say, čím víc kytek mám, tím jsem šťastnější. The more plants I have, the happier I am. Now you're thinking, that's a strange word order. In fact, we have a little bit more room here. We could also say, čím víc mám kytek, tím šťastnější jsem. It doesn't really matter. It depends what we want to emphasize. Now I highlighted some words here that shows you the comparison and showing the measure. So like I said, čím víc, or we could say čím více, the more plants. This is genitive, by the way, because the word víc, when it's followed by a noun or an adjective, comes in the genitive case. The more of plants I have, tím jsem šťastnější. And this is the comparative adjective. So šťastnější, happier. Now let's see this one. Čím méně času měl, tím byl nervóznější. Here we have méně. Méně, if you remember, it means less. So let's underline the important words. Čím, tím has to be there. That's a must. Čím, and then this is how we express the relation. Méně. The less time he had, the more nervous he became. Čím méně, and here we have to say less of time. Méně also needs the genitive case. Tím byl nervóznější or nervóznějším. Here we can use nominative or instrumental case. Instrumental, nervóznějším, is more formal. By the way, if you would like to practice more of these cases, you can find all of this in my ebook. You can study every case, for example, the genitive, the instrumental case. You can also find this čím here in the study tables. Čím, as you can see, this is instrumental čím, and then tím is here. Let's take a look at more examples. Čím dříve to uděláš, tím lépe. We could also say dřív. In this case, it's also more informal. Dřív, the shorter version, is more informal than dříve. So, dříve means sooner. The sooner you do it, the better. So you don't have to have verbs in both parts. What is important, as I said, you have to have čím in one part, tím in the second part. Don't forget the comma. It's important to separate these two parts of the clause. Dříve is the comparative adverb. Brzy, soon. Dříve, sooner. And then tím lépe. This is also a comparative adverb. Lépe, in a better way. Next one, something that people like to say about themselves or other people. Čím jsem starší, tím jsem blbější. Čím tím, comma. Then we have a comparative adjective. Čím jsem starší, the older I am, the what? The dumber I get. Blbější. So these are adjectives, and the word order could be even like this. Čím starší jsem, tím jsem blbější, or tím blbější jsem. And this one. Čím je člověk aktivnější, tím je zdravější. You can use the word člověk, which means person or like one in this case, to talk about something in general. Čím je člověk aktivnější, tím je zdravější. So you see this ejší, those are also adjectives. The more active the person is, the healthier they are. or the healthier he is. Aktivnější, zdravější. More active, healthier. And 2 more examples. Something that might or might not be true for YouTube, or in my case, čím kratší video, tím vyšší sledovanost. Čím kratší, tím vyšší. The shorter the video, the higher the views, the viewership. I don't know, sometimes that's true for me. And I don't manage to make shorter videos, so... Notice that there is no verb here. It could be there. We could say čím kratší je video, tím vyšší je sledovanost. Not necessary. You can leave it out. Or čím starší je sýr, tím lépe chutná. Čím starší, tím lépe. Here we actually have a mixture. Čím is followed by an adjective, comparative adjective, and tím is followed by a comparative adverb, lépe, in a better way, which means the older the cheese is, the better it tastes. Of course, you could also say tím je lepší, the better it is. There are many possibilities. But you have to keep in mind the rule čím tím, and then you have to have some sort of a comparative, either using víc or více, méně or míň, or adjective or adverb in the comparative form. I think you've seen enough. Let's do a quick exercise. Here you are going to see 4 sentences that needs to be completed. Let's take a look. If you want, you can pause the video, work on it, and then resume it and check it. Number 1. Číslo 1. The more money you have, the more nervous you will be. What is missing? Of course, čím and tím. And then we have to say, čím víc peněz máš, tím budeš nervóznější. Číslo 2. The more people you invite, the more expensive it will be. Again, we're missing čím and tím. Čím více, and then we need the genitive form. Čím více lidí. Čím více lidí pozvete, tím dražší to bude. Číslo 3. The more he talked, the less I liked him. You're finally going to find out how to say this. Čím více or víc. Čím víc mluvil, tím míň se mi líbil. So you can use víc or míň, více or méně, but it's better to stick with one type, either both formal or both informal. Číslo 4. The higher notes she sang, the more excited the audience became. So here we need an adjective. Čím vyšší tóny zpívala, tím bylo publikum nadšenější. We have nadšený and then nadšenější. Výborně. I hope you enjoyed this quick exercise. And I have one more thing for you. Let's take a look. We are going to take a look at another expression, which is related, but it's a little bit different. So, how to say more and more in Czech? Let's go back to that scene from the Czech fairy tale about bandits. Loupežníci is bandits or robbers. Loupežníci měli čím dál tím víc peněz, which means the bandits had more and more money. Čím dál, tím víc peněz. So we have this similar expression, but it's just one sentence, so there's no comma. Čím dál, tím víc peněz. Tím can be left out. In fact, it's more common not to use it, but if you do use it, it emphasizes it. It's more and more. I'm not gonna get into the literal translation, but something like the bandits had more and further more money. Dál means further. So it's something that it's part of that expression, čím dál víc, and then you use amount, how much they had. Or here you could also say míň. If this was the opposite case, they had less and less money. Čím dál míň peněz. Next one. Kradli čím dál tím víc. And you can leave out tím. Kradli čím dál víc. They robbed more and more. So in Czech you have to work a little bit harder. More and more is not enough. You just use čím dál víc. More and more. The further you get, the more. Or Pršelo čím dál víc. It rained more and more. Čím dál víc. And you can add tím. Čím dál tím víc. Let's look at more examples. Čím dál víc mě štve. He or she annoys me more and more. Čím dál víc. So this is a very common phrase. Čím dál víc. But it doesn't have to contain víc. For example, jsem čím dál unavenější. I am more and more tired. Čím dál is here. That's the core that has to be there. But instead of víc, we can also choose to use an adjective like here. Or an adverb in the comparative form. Unavenější. More tired. Všechno je čím dál dražší. Everything is more and more expensive or becoming more expensive. Všechno je čím dál, that's the core. Then adjective in the comparative form, dražší, more expensive. A to je ode mě všechno. You can write a sentence in the comments with this construct or the one I showed you at the beginning. I'll be happy. If you're interested in learning Czech from the beginning or you want to take a break from grammar, I recommend my new ebook, my first Czech adventure, which focuses on Czech in context. You will listen to 20 conversations and there are some fun exercises. Tak jo, mějte se. Čau, čau.